Hello everyone, welcome to another Flesh and Blood video. It's finally time that we start reviewing Rosetta now that we have all of the cards thanks to the event in Tampa this weekend. Now that we have everything, the set review, we have all the cards, so we can actually look at all the cards, see if they are good, see if the heroes will actually be playable. For this first video, we'll be going over all of the elemental cards, being the Earth, Elemental, and Lightning cards. Next video, we'll be going over the Runeblade and the Wizard cards. If that video is not super long, I will also go over all of the generics and the expansion slot cards. However, if the Runeblade and the Wizard cards take too much time, that will be a third video. I don't think there are that many elemental cards, but there's a lot more to talk about with these than the Runeblade cards. Like, there's not much to say about, like, a Consuming Volition reprint or, like, Hocus Pocus or something. But there is a lot to say about the new elemental cards because those are sort of the bread and butter of these new heroes. Because a lot of the old cards aren't the most synergistic with the new ones, mainly because there's no fusion anymore. It's a different mechanic for both of the elements, but I think that's perfectly fine, because I honestly think all four of these heroes are very playable and constructed. So with that, I'm going to end this intro here, and we'll get started with the first hero in the set, Florian Rotwood Harbinger. Florian Rotwood Harbinger is a 4 intellect, 40 life elemental runeblade hero. I do need to specify life because there is a hero with less than 40 in this set. Florian, similar to his Earth Wizard counterpart, has Essence of Earth, as well as an effect that is only active when there are 8 or more Earth cards in your Banish Zone. How easy is that to do? Honestly, it seems pretty easy. It just depends on how lucky you get with drawing some of the cards you're going to be playing. But for this advantage, you will get to make an extra aura token whenever you create one or more aura tokens. So if you make one rune chant, you make 2. If you make 4 rune chants, you make 5. If you make embodiments of earth, you'll make an extra one. Things like that. Really, it's just going to be rune chants and embodiments of earth. I guess you could theoretically create agilities and mights off clash wins with like a victor opponent or a wagers off of a Betsy opponent. But most likely, it's going to be a rune chant or an embodiment of earth. Florian's ability wants you to just make a ton of these tokens and hopefully win the game that way. I think Florian is best built in a... There's 2 ways I think you can build Florian. I think the main way people are going to be building him is in like an OTK Viz style deck where you just try to stack up as many rune chants as possible. Of course, you can't do that from the start because Florian's effect isn't active. There's only one card that, technically 2 because Sotomaro, but I don't think you're going to be playing that. There's only one card that's not an attack that actually lets you decompose, which is the New Earth mechanic we'll talk about in a little bit. But you'll have to take your time to do that. Although once you do get it up, as I said, it'll happen in like the first half of the game. Hopefully by turn 4, your hero ability can be activated. I think that's going to be the sweet spot. An issue I see with these Earth heroes is that they are in a position to where if they get like super aggroed down, it's going to be really tough for them. But thankfully, we have cards like, I believe it's called Rootbound Carapace is the defense reaction with Decompose. Thankfully, they have cards like that. And early game, you can always end up keeping a 2-card hand to throw a Decompose attack to get this ability active. And then once it's active, or at least when you're at 4, your equipment turns on. We'll talk about the equipment later. But you'll get a lot more defensive tools as you gain these stacks, so it's going to be the 4 is the hardest. The second 4, that 5 to 8 is going to be pretty easy. And once you get there, you can start stacking up rune chants with a lot of the cards, things like Germinate, which is his spec, and like Arcane Seeds in Life. Really easy. Same thing as like Mordred Tide, any other effects. Although, I think Florian is a little harsher to get aggroed down than Verdance, because Verdance is about life gain, where Florian's not really doing that. He's more defensive. The other build I can see with Florian, though, is a more aggressive build. Playing sort of that normal Runeblade thing, that Mauvrin Skies type deck to get 2 attacks a turn, mainly because Florian giving you extra rune chance is just always present, so your Mauvrian Skies hits will always generate an extra rune chant. If you meet and greet hits will make an extra rune chant. Swarming Gloom Veil will see 2 auras enter if you only make 1 on a turn. You can have that tempo-y aggressive Florian list that I think is definitely possible, and you can build up into his ability to hopefully gain a advantage towards the end of a game, because these Earth Heroes are definitely slated more for the late game. We saw that with a lot of the bans recently. They took a lot of the card draw out, so hopefully games go later, and that really only benefits these new Earth Heroes because they want longer games to be able to banish a lot of things. The young version of Florian, if you were playing limited or blitz type of stuff like that, is 20 health, 4 intellect, just like every other young hero. However, these young Earth heroes only need 4 cards to be in your banish zone, because blitz and those formats are generally faster. You can get the ability up a little easier. Moving on to Florian's weapon, Rotwood Reaper. Rotwood Reaper is a 2 cost to attack, 2 base power Earth Runeblade weapon. It's a 2-handed sword. If you've played or created an aura this turn, you'll get +2. So I guess it's kind of like a Rosetta Thorn being a 4 power weapon, however it doesn't cost 1. I think this weapon's definitely playable. It seems really good in the limited format. It's the strongest fatigue weapon in the set, because Aurora's weapon is only 1 base power, and the wizards don't have attack on their weapons. So if you wanted to play a fatigue style strategy in limited, Florian seems to be the best one to do so. As well as in constructed, I think Nebula Blade is probably a little stronger. Nebula Blade seems easier to turn on than this effect, as well as Nebula Blade threatens the on-hit to make rune chants, which benefits from Florian's ability, giving you an extra rune chant on hit. So I think most people are going to opt for the Nebula Blade, but I could see a world where Rotwood Reaper becomes a viable choice for your weapon in Florian, because a 2 for 4 really is not terrible. And it'll generally be more because you'll probably make rune chants that turn. Germinate is Florian's specialization. This is a 3-block Earth Runeblade action. It of course is a spec. It costs 2x, and it is blue. You create a rune chant or embodiment of Earth, and then you repeat that effect x times. So for 2 mana, you make 2. For 4 mana, you make 3. For 6 mana, you make 4. Or if Florian's ability is turned on, for 2 mana, you make 4. For 4 mana, you make 6? If I'm doing my math right? Yeah, for 4 mana, you make 6. For 6 mana, you make 8. You pretty much just want to play this when Florian's ability is on. It's mostly going to just be used for rune chants, but if you do need the embodiments of Earth into like a brute matchup, I can see you making a few embodiments to just say, okay, well on my next turn, all of my non-attack actions block for 6. I can 1 card 1 block your whole turn, try to get tempo back, keep a good attack, as well as you'll also gain X plus 1 life, so you will gain a little bit of life back. That's not really the biggest effect. Notably, it doesn't have go again, so this will be the last thing you generally will be doing on your turn unless some other effect permits it, but this is generally going to be the end of your turn. There's not many times where you'd actually want to attack after it. You'll just make your embodiments and then extra rune chants and then just go from there. And I think that's really good. This is a great pitch stack card. if you can get to it and have enough cards in hand to pay for a big one, and then hopefully protect yourself and then end out a game with all the rune chants. Next is a new type of card. These are called meld cards. Think of them like, I don't know what the keyword is in Magic. There's a lot of stuff in Magic that let you, it's very similar. You can play it for one or both sides, but you have to pay the cost on them. Of course, this one costs 0, and Florian has the advantage of having both of his costs 0, which is great. The Earth cards and the Lightning ones, the Earth meld cards and the Lightning meld cards, all have the same secondary effect. The Earth one is life and the Lightning one is shock. Life just gains you a life, shock will deal 1 damage. Note that this is a instant on life, so you can play it as an instant just for life, but if you do use your action point on it, Thistle Bloom will be something you do, and then you can also have life, and you should be able to let life resolve before Thistle Bloom, or vice versa. There's a card we'll look at later where you might, I believe it's an Ascilio card. Is it an Ascilio card? I'm not sure. But there might be a card later, I don't remember, that we need to look at that might matter, where you want to gain, or you want to do the first effect before the second effect. But with that, Thistle Bloom life is a yellow 3 block because the Thistle Bloom is in action. Its Thistle Bloom effect is to create X rune chance or X the total amount of life you've gained this turn. So I guess if you can get a Germinate off prior and then use something like maybe Creepers to give it go again, if you do play Creepers, but I don't know if that's the way you'll go with Florian, you can use Thistle Bloom after that, gain a life off life, and then Thistle Bloom will make you rune chants. At minimum, this will be 1 rune chant, because you'll gain 1 life off life, and then you've gained 1 life, so Thistle Bloom works. The best case scenario is you play this, maybe you have Florian's ability active, and then you play like 3 Arcane Seeds life, and then this, and you make a bunch. But Thistle Bloom life, I think, is when you play it, just makes you rune chance, and as a 3 block action, I think that's definitely just what you want for Florian, just to be it's just a defensive deck that you might want to just set up rune chance to win. I think this is a good option. Arcane Seeds and Life is a 0 cost red meld card. I'm not going to read life or shock. Shock is just doing arcane damage for whatever the cost, so it doesn't really matter. But this is another 0 cost, so the life side is free. Arcane Seeds will have you make a rune chant token, and then make a rune chant token, and then it has go again. So at base you'll get 2. With Florian's ability on, you'll get 4, and that's incredibly strong for a free card. This is a 0 for 4 if Florian's ability is on. 0 for 5 because you're gaining a life, as well as being a 3 block action with go again in Runeblade, which is incredibly strong. So this will definitely, I think this card's definitely at 3 in Florian. I don't know if Thistle Bloom will be at 3 in Florian, but 100% this card is very, very good. Moving on to the second Runeblade of the set, Aurora Shooting Star. She is a 40 health 4 intellect elemental Runeblade hero, but this time with the essence of lightning. She has the ability to pay 2 resource to create an embodiment of lightning token, but you can only activate it if you've played a lightning card this turn. This is really just an effect to use your excess mana set up for your next turn. I think it's a fine ability. It's not going to be the most used ability, but if you need to set up a turn, say you had a blue that you pitched to your weapon, and you just have 2 floating after that, it's just a good ability to activate. Make your next turn a little less, a little more consistent, because you'll have something that you can just do as a starter. Aurora's young ability is the exact same. There's really no change. Aurora's new weapon, Starfall. This one is from the First Strike deck, so some of you may already have it. Starfall is a 1 attack lightning runeblade weapon. It's a 2-handed sword, and it has 1 base power. But if you've played a lightning card this turn, it gets +1 and go again. Just a 1 for 2 go again is pretty nice. Man, I wish Ninja had something like this. That would be absolutely insane as a 1 for 2 go again. But obviously, you need to play a lightning card, so you can't start with this. So, though playing a lightning card is going to be extremely easy because there's really no elemental cards in this set. Everything in this set is just lightning or earth. Maybe there's one at most, but everything in this set's lightning. So, playing really any card will give you this effect on, which is great, including Arc Lightning, Aurora's specialization. This is a 0 cost yellow lightning runeblade action. It has 2 block and of course an Aurora spec. Whenever you go again this turn, you do 1 arcane damage to any target, and the next action card you play this turn gets go again, and it itself has go again. So obviously, remember when I said Flicker Wisp would be pretty decent? I did not know this card existed, but this card's great with Flicker Wisp. If you can set it up and then have a lot of attacks in a turn, you can so easily just do upfronts of 8 arcane just by itself. It's any time you go again, so your weapon will proc it, any attack will proc it. Obviously, you need to set up pretty big for that. You'll have, what, if you have a 5-card hand, maybe you have a channel in play, so you'll have 4 cards max outside of this. You already did it twice. You'll get upfronts of 12 damage at max off just the arcane, then you have to worry about the physical. So stacking this plus a Flicker Wisp could just be insanely strong. We will have to see though. I think this by itself is like another 0 for 4. It's a lightning card that can trigger your lightning flow effects, and it gives something go again because not a lot of the stuff in the deck have go again. So really this is a very strong card that you'll want to be playing. Does hurt your Rabbles though because it is yellow, but oh well. The deck's probably going to only play like 6 blues anyway. So your Rabbles will at least be 4 most of the time. The first of Aurora's meld cards is Vaporize Shock. This is a 0 cost yellow full instant, so this one does not block. The main side is an instant. You can destroy an aura permanent with X or less and or X aura tokens, where X is the total arcane damage you've dealt to opposing heroes this turn. Really, this card is just here for your illusionist matchups. I guess technically it's good into Runeblade as well. So yeah, actually, Runeblade and illusionist matchups are really going to be the only time you're bringing this card. I guess you could like sneak out and destroy an agility or might against a KO. But mainly this will be destroy their 4-cost aura in Prism, or, you know, I guess it's pretty hard to do arcane damage through ward, so maybe not Enigma, but into Runeblade, of course, you can destroy their rune chance with it. So this card has a lot of upside. I think you'll see it in sideboards, very similar to Scour. If you're a wizard player, you will definitely like this one. I just think it's a sideboard card. You'll probably play it at 3 in sideboards, maybe 2 or 3 in sideboards. Just to bring it in versus Prism and also Runeblades, so we can blow up all their rune chance. Mainly just Florian, probably just Florian and Prism, but I think those are going to be good decks next set, so this card will definitely have some use. Next is the actual premium, like this card's so insane, Burn Up Shock. This is a red 3-block Runeblade action or lightning instant because it's shock. Burn Up is the next time an attack you control hits a hero, do 4 arcane damage to them. That's insane. Aurora is a deck built on breakpoints. So a turn you play Burn Up, if they don't have a D-React, they're mostly... This is like a Boom Grenade. You can't flash it in like a Boom Grenade, but it's free. You also got 1 damage off the shock. It's a lightning card for your lightning flows. It's a lightning card for your weapon. Your weapon can trigger this. It's any attack you control that hits. That counts for your Starfall. This card is so good. I think this card should have been the well, this card shouldn't have been the M for limited purposes, but this card feels like an M, to be honest. This card is so insanely strong. I think you'll see this in every Aurora deck. But to be honest, just all the meld cards are extremely strong. They're all well statted. They're all statted before the shock. Like if Burn Up was just Burn Up, I would still play it. It's a 3-block action that does 4 damage if I get a hit. That's insane. Like, I'd still play Aether Seed or Arcane Seeds in Florian if it didn't have life attached. That's how insane these cards are. But Burn Up, very good. This one we'll see play at 3 of in every Aurora deck, most likely. It's a red, so your Rabbles are fine with it. Rabbles are a breakpoint, so this will love it if you draw it. It just will help you aggro down opponents so easily. The problem with a lot of non-attacks in Aurora is they only pump by 3, but the fact that this is 4, it's a non-attack action that actually lets you do 4 damage, which is incredibly strong. Moving on to Verdant's Thorn of the Rose. This is the first of our new wizard heroes. This is a 40 life hero, and this is the first wizard that is unable to do something at instant speed on their hero ability, which is insane. I guess they want to turn wizards into a little slower. Again, they want to slow the game down. Ascilio is an aggro deck wizard, but it's not going to be as like bursty as Kano was. He'll be definitely a lot more fair, but at least he does something at instant speed. Verdance doesn't have that. Verdance is also the first 40 life wizard, mainly because of that no instant speed ability. She'll still get access to Storm Striders though, so you are theoretically at a deficit, right? Or your opponent is theoretically at a deficit right out of the gate because of the Storm Striders. So do watch for that. But Verdant's Thorn of the Rose is a 40 life, 4 intellect, elemental wizard hero. She is Essence of Earth. She has the ability, if there are 8 or more Earth cards in your Banish Zone, Verdance gets, whenever you gain life during your turn, you may do 1 arcane damage to any opposing target. Incredibly powerful hero ability here. This works immensely well with the new wizard mechanic Amp, because if you amp, you can up that damage that you're doing with this hero ability, even if you don't do arcane damage on your turn. Something like a Findle's Fighting Spirit will come in for 3 for 9, theoretically, because it's a 3 for 7. You're gaining 1, so it's a 3 for 8, and then you're doing 1, so it's a 3 for 9. Incredibly powerful. Any other life gain, you'll see that when we take a look at her spec and her meld cards. She works incredibly well with life, the second meld card for Earth, because she gains a life. That's 1 extra arcane damage. So, incredibly powerful effect here on Verdance that we will. I definitely want to play because I prefer the slower wizards. I really liked Icelander, and I'm hoping that Icelander comes back in the next Armory deck. But if she doesn't, Verdance will definitely be that slow wizard that people are looking for, that Bullander style with that Storm Striders combo finish. Just like Florian, Verdance's young version will only require 4 cards in the Banish Zone for the ability to turn on. Staff of Verdant Shoots is the new Earth Wizard weapon. It's a 2-handed staff. It has the ability of a once per turn action to pay 3 resource and amp 1. This is the first time we've seen amp, so I will talk, and then it has go again. This is the first time we've seen amp, so I will talk about it. Amp is a effect that that says the next time you would deal arcane damage this turn, instead do that much plus the amount of amp. So for this, 1. So you can pay 3 to do 1 more arcane damage the next time you do arcane. This works with her ability. This works with a lot of things, but 1 amp for 3 isn't the best. Although this weapon does have an extra effect. It also says when 1 or more Earth cards are pitched this way, the next time you deal arcane damage this turn, you create an embodiment of Earth token. So you'll get a little bit of extra defense if you end up doing some arcane damage, which can be very easy, again, with things like Findle's Fighting Spirit, like some of your meld cards, a few of your decomposed cards. One of them gains you life, so Verdants will definitely love that one. This weapon is definitely usable. I don't know if it'll be Verdant's best weapon. I think the Earth heroes definitely didn't get as good weapons as the Lightning heroes. I think Aurora's weapon is definitely incredibly powerful, and we haven't gone over Ascilio's yet, but I think Ascilio's could be the best weapon in the set. Isn't his a spec? No, I thought his was a spec. But Ascilio definitely is the best weapon in the set. I think this could be the worst weapon in the set, to be honest. It seems okay and limited, but in constructed, it just might be not enough. 3 resourced for only +1 damage feels off, even though, yes, if you do arcane, you get the embodiment, so you can be a little more defensive is great. I just can't see this being better than Waning Moon in a lot of situations. I'm sure there are matchups you want the Staff of Verdant shoots, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it'll be your main board option. I think Waning Moon is definitely just stronger in like most situations. Moving on to Verdant's specialization. Heartbeat of Candlehold is a 1-cost Earth Wizard action. It is 3 block, and it is her spec, of course. It says, gain 1 life, gain 1 life, gain 1 life, go again. The reason it's separated into 3 different effects is because no matter how much life you gain, Verdant's will only ever do 1 arcane when you gain life. So you could gain 20 life. I don't think you can gain 20 life in one instance, but if you gain 20 life in one instance, your Heartbeat of Candlehold will do, or your Verdant's ability, will only do 1 arcane. So this will gain you 3 life, but it will do 3 instances of 1 arcane, which is incredibly strong. I think you definitely just play this card. It's a 3 block action. Embodiments pump it. It's a blue. It's just a good card. Next is Rampant Growth and Life. This was the thing I was talking about, where there could be a situation where you'd want to resolve the Rampant Growth first. Let's read the card before I say my reasoning why. Rampant Growth is a yellow instant, so this card won't block. And you amp X, where X is the amount of life you've gained this turn, and then you'll gain 1 life on life. The reason why I say there are sometimes you might want to gain the 1 life second, even though you're losing out on 1 amp, if there is no other arcane you can do this turn, remember this is an instant, so if you go like Findle's Fight, or you do something, right? You play whatever. Say you play your Heartbeat of Candlehold first, you do the arcane, but then you don't have another source of arcane. Maybe you do have Waning Moon, in which you want to Rampant Growth second. But say you don't. Say you're on Staff of Verdant shoots, and you don't have any more arcane damage. You'll need to gain the life second, so you can get the 1 arcane off of Verdant's hero ability. In most situations, if you do have an arcane source after, though, you'll want to do this second. And even there's a lot of situations too where the amp is just incredibly powerful. Even at an amp of 1, it's strong. But you'll want to play this with other life gain effects. Good on some of the base wizard cards we'll be looking at. I think this card's okay, though. I don't know if it'll make every deck, but I think it is playable. Just as like if Verdance becomes a super life gain fatigue deck, this card will be great. As well as this card works incredibly well with Sigil, because it's the total amount of life you've gained. So this gets pumped by 3 by Sigil, which is really cool. And there's a lot of other life gain in this set. Moving on to the rare Pulsing Aether and Life. This is the first 1-cost meld card that we have seen. Pulsing Aether is a just 1 for 4 arcane, any target. There's no Earth or Lightning base cards like how Icelander has Frosting and Aether Hail and Ice Bolt. None of those exist. I guess Ascilio has the 2 for 5 in his meld card, but there's no Zap because every base wizard card's a Zap. But this is just a 1 for 4. If you pay, this life will cost 1, so if you do want to gain the 1 life, you will have to pay an extra 1, or if you just need to gain the 1 life, you'll need to pay 1 life to actually just play it, or pay 1 resource to actually just play it. But does block 3. It is technically an Earth card for your Decompose. This is better than Rampant Growth, I feel, because it's just consistency. It's just a 1 for 4 that does 4. Yeah, 1 for 4 Arcane. It's just good. Blocks 3. You'll definitely play this one. So, yeah, I just think this one's pretty good. And then the last hero, before I cut and drink water, because I feel like I've been talking forever, is Ascilio Constella Intelligence. This is a 36 health elemental wizard hero with 4 intellect. He has Essence of Lightning and a very simple ability. A once per turn instant to discard an instant to draw a card. That's right, guys. We get to draw a card on a hero ability. It's so broken, but realistically, this will be used to just churn through your deck. This is the Sigils deck. You'll see that when we look at the weapon. But this is the deck that wants to play a bunch of free instants and then do one big thing. It's like, I guess you could treat it like Storm. It's not like Kano, where Kano is kill you immediately. But this is like, I have a good hand. I go this, activate this that gets bigger for each thing I did, and then play this card to do arcane damage. That's what Ascilio wants to do. I don't know if he has the most damage, because he really doesn't feel like it, but we'll have to see when we actually deck build. We didn't have a lot of the cards we have now. There was a sigil that's a base wizard sigil that we were missing the whole time, and that card snapped in Ascilio. So we'll have to take a look at decks, test them out once everything is on the online stuff and we can actually do it. But I think Ascilio is pretty fun. If I don't play Verdance, I'm going to play Ascilio because I actually really like his design. Ascilio's young version has 18 health because the adult's 36. The best weapon in the set, here we go. This is the first weapon revealed. Volzar the Lightning Rod. This is a lightning wizard weapon. I think this is a insanely well-designed weapon that makes Ascilio do how the designers designed him to play, which is be the Sigils deck. It has an effect to where if you control an aura permanent with Sigil in its name, this costs 1 less. I mean, at least his specs, Ascilio's spec is a Sigil, so you're playing at least 3 in your deck. But it does really feel bad to pay 1 into this ability, especially when you consider that every Sigil is free. So that just means you didn't have a Sigil if you're paying 1 into this, which does feel really bad, but it's fine. Your reward for paying 1 or 0 is an instant speed once per turn to amp X, where X is the number of lightning cards you've played this turn. So if you go 3 Sigils of Brilliance, then this gives you +3. Of course, you're going to play with other lightning things. There are going to be a lot of instants you play. I think you play Blink because not a lot of your attacks have Go Again. There's a really good lightning card. Like Blast to Oblivion, in most situations, is a tech card. But in Ascilio, you can target your own things, put them into your hand, and then trigger them because all the sigils trigger on leave. So you can like do that, pick up your own Sigil of Brilliance, draw a card. Pick up your Sigil of Conductivity. You're not playing this one. Where's the other one? Sigil of Lightning. Make an embodiment of lightning. This is a way you're going to get Go Again a lot. But you need to play a lot of lightning cards. Not a lot of them have Go Again unless they're instants, and if they're instants, they don't block. So you can just die to disruption, which I think is the one problem that Ascilio has. Aurora has so much dang armor because she's a rune blade that she can have that, like Zen, have that 1 block of disruption to get a free get out of jail free card. Ascilio doesn't have that. But since everything's an instant, you can theoretically, if they CNC you, you could go triple instant Tunic Strider's weapon, blast someone. Right? Since everything in your deck's an instant, which could be incredibly strong. So I really, really like this weapon. I don't think it's replaceable in Ascilio. Just from how his decks are going to be built, I think this is going to be the premier every time. Sigil of Brilliance is a 0 cost Lightning Wizard instant aura. It is an Ascilio spec. At the beginning of your action phase, you destroy this. And when it leaves the arena, you draw a card. As I said earlier, whenever you pick up the Sigil of Brilliance off of something, or it gets destroyed, there's a lot of effects that actually make it leave play without destroying it, you get a free card. Ascilio's game plan is going to all be around his sigils. This, the Sigil of Lightning, the Wizard one that I didn't show you guys yet, those three, maybe one or two others, you want to use them to just grind value and then set up an immaculate combo turn where you have sigils blowing up, getting a bunch of value, replaying sigils, drawing a ton of cards, playing all this burn damage. That's sort of what Ascilio seems to be wanting to do. So this letting him draw a card to just keep digging, especially with his own hero ability, letting him discard instants. Ascilio also has great tech options. You can just play Snag main board, or like, probably not, but you can have Snag or like Poison the Well for like specific matchups, bring them in interchangeably, and then just, if you don't need it in that situation, get rid of it, draw. And you're perfectly fine. That's a good option to make, because this deck's going to just try to churn through itself as fast as possible. Remember, you can do this on both turns, your turn and your opponent's turn. You can just keep digging. So eventually, you'll get a pitch stack to where you'll go 3 Sigils of Brilliance, do something to pick up all 3 Sigils of Brilliance, replay them again, do it again, activate Volzar, blast your opponent. Probably why they banned Tome, to be honest, so you can't start with the Tome there. This is probably one of my favorite specs in the set. This and Heartbeat. Actually, I think all 4 specs in the set are incredibly good. So, but this one might be my favorite, because there's so many synergies with it we haven't even talked about yet. Null Shock. This is another 1 cost. Ascilio sadly does not have a single 0 cost meld card, but to be fair, I think both of his meld cards are still really good. Null is a 1 cost yellow wizard instant. It has you target an instant that has cost less than the amount of arcane you've dealt this to opposing heroes this turn and negate it. It's like an Aetherize, which is another card you'll probably play in Ascilio just because you can discard it. And this is just interaction, for instance, for... So I don't think it fully negates the card, so off a meld card, if you negate a life, I don't think it stops the actual other spell they're casting, but I'll have to look on the rules if that is true or not. But it can stop a Sigil. I think Verdance probably plays that. I think Florian probably plays it, so it can, again, it stops Sigils. You only need to do 1 to do that, because it just costs less, so if you shock with this, makes sense to me. Pretty good spot there. To just do the 1 if they take it, negate their thing. Of course, they'll have to pay into it, but then they paid. You might be able to respond with something else to do Arcane. Just get a lot of value off of that. I think this card's okay. I don't know if you played in every deck, but it is still a pretty good one. And then the last meld card, before we take a look at all of the Earth cards and all the Lightning cards, is Comet Storm and Shock. This, I believe, was the first meld card that we saw, one of the first. It's a 2 for 5 or a 2-cost Shock. The worst Shock in the game, but I think a pretty good, just normal action. 2 for 5 makes sense. If you have the resource, I guess you could play both and then use the Volzar before the Comet Storm resolves to amp it. So sure, it's a... how much would that be? That would be a 5-cost 7 if you don't control a Sigil. So I guess, but I mean, still, it's good as that last thing. I think the best ender, though, for the deck is going to be like Forked Lightning, because you like amp 8 and then Forked Lightning someone for 20. But Comet Storm is a good other thing. So, actually, does Fork Lightning work that way with Amp? I'm not actually sure. Either way, you blast someone for 1,000,000. That's the point. Um, so Comet Storm I think is playable. It's also an instant. So you can just put this in your deck as a 3-block instant that you can discard to Askelio later if you need to just cycle. So it's a good card. I think you just play it for that reason. Now that we're done with all of the heroes, I know this video is incredibly long, but we still have all of the Earth cards and all of the Lightning cards to go. I'm sorry if I talk too slow. I'll try to speed up the rest of these because they're all pretty simple except these first few for Earth and Lightning. I'll talk about the M's a little more in depth and a few of the commons or rares if they're better, but anyway, let's just keep going. Starting with the Earth cards and their brand new L, Barkskin of the Millennium Tree. This chess piece is a Earth equipment. It is 2-block and has Temper. Technically, yes, playable in Starvo, Oldham, and Briar. However, since they don't banish cards, and all have better 2-block chess piece since they don't, they won't play it. But this will be the best in Florian and Verdance. This has the effect to where when this defends, if there are 4 or more Earth cards in your Banish Zone, you'll create an embodiment of Earth token, which just means this card is like a block 5 minimum. If you only block with 1 non-attack action each time you make the embodiment of Earth, that's great. If this blocks together with a 3-block at full durability, you're blocking for 6. So, an incredibly strong defensive tool. If the Earth decks don't turn out to need Tunic, so I guess if Verdance doesn't turn out to need Tunic, you're going to play this. And if Florian doesn't, well, for Florian, you can just play both the AB2 chest and the Barkskin. So, but Wizards are doing physical damage. So actually, yeah, the 2-block Temper on the AB2 chest is pretty good. So this will be just an incredibly strong chess piece for the Earth heroes to bring in, because Embodiments of Earth, both of them care about it, and it'll be great. Actually, in Florian, it's a block 7 because if you're at 8, because you'll make 2 Embodiments of Earth. Not much to say about the chess piece. It's pretty simple. I'm going to try to speed through these if they're not as interesting, but like this isn't as interesting of a chess, but it is a very good card for Legendary. Helm of Lignum Vitae is a common Earth head. It is 1 block and Blade Break, but if there are 4 more Earth cards in your Banish Zone, plus 1 block, mainly for limited. Every generic helmet's better than this. So. But an actual good leg that I think could see constructed play is Well Grounded. This is a 0-block Earth leg. It is an instant, and it has Destroy This. Prevent the next 2 damage that will be dealt to you this turn. Activate only if there are 4 or more cards in your Banish Zone. Obviously, you are not playing this in Verdance, because Stormstriders. However, if you don't need Spellbound Creepers for Florian, this is the most block you can get on a shoe for free, because you don't want to pay 1 into the Iron Hides, and this just gets turned on when you're at 4, so it's just 2 prevention. So, actually a strong card. I think we'll see play in Florian. I'm going to be putting this in my Florian list when I test them out, because I think these have potential to be just a better boot than whatever he could be playing before. And there's no new Earth Runeblade shoe. Is there a new Earth Runeblade shoe? I don't believe there is. No. So this is actually the one equipment slot that was not a new card this set. So for Earth, or for Florian at least, so Well Grounded, actually just a good card that we'll definitely see play, I think, at some point. At least even into AB. Moving on to the M's, we have a new mechanic called Decompose. Decompose says when you do the thing that's decomposing, play the card. All the attacks say when it attacks, but one of them's a D-react. you banish 2 Earth cards and an action card from your graveyard. And if you do, you get some effects. Felling of the Crown is a 3-cost, 4-power, 3-block Earth attack action. It gets +4 power if there are 4 more Earth cards in your banish zone. So even if you don't decompose it and you have 4, it's a 3 for 8. When it attacks, you can decompose. If you do, both heroes put a card from their hand on the bottom of their deck. So some nice disruption. This will definitely see play. It's a 3 for 8. It's a 3 for 8 that blocks 3, has decompose so it can let you set up. You don't care, you're the slow deck. You don't care if you put a card from your hand on the bottom. You're disrupting your opponent. This card's incredibly strong. Definitely going to be a 3 of inside of both of the New Earth heroes. Plow Under is a 2-cost, 2 attack, 3 block. I believe the lowest attack a 2-block card has ever, or 2-power card has ever had, to my knowledge. If there are 4 more Earth cards in your banish zone, get +4. Same as Felling of the Crown. So could be a 2 for 6 at yellow, which is actually a really good rate. It is Decompose. Every Decompose is the same cost. This time, each hero will put their arsenal on the bottom, a card from their arsenal. So Rangers with New Horizons will get to choose, but you're going to still disrupt them. Very good card. Good in sort of the opposite situation of Felling the Crown, where Felling the Crown's great if you have an arsenal but no other cards in hand. This is great if you have an extra card to arsenal but no arsenal. I guess you could just tuck it still, but Plow Under, I think both of these will see play in like every New Earth deck because they're both 3-block decompose effects and they're both disruption, which is what you realistically want in a 2-card hands deck. Channel the Millennium Tree is a 3-cost, 3-block Earth action. It's an aura. It is Go Again. When it enters the arena at the beginning of your action phase, you'll amp 3. And then it has Channel Earth, which is the same effect that all the other channels have with the flow counters, put the Earth cards on the bottom of your deck, yada yada. It is a 3 for 3. If you can keep it in play, which you probably will, because you'll probably pitch an Earth Blue to this, you'll get to keep it in play. You'll get amp 6, making this a 3 for 6. If you can somehow keep it in play for 2 turns in a row, which technically is possible with Staff of Verdant Root as well as a 3 for 7 or whatever attack you play for your turn, you can get 9 value out of it. Of course, then it'll be hard to do Arcane, but if you threw like a Finals Fighting Spirit or something, that'll trigger Verdance, let you do your Arcane. This card seems very good. I don't know actually how good it'll be. This will be more, I think, of a build around. I don't think most of the decks will actually play this. This seems a little too slow to me in Florian. I'd rather just play another effect that makes Rune Chants, since Amp will only affect one of the Rune Chants, possibly in the more aggressive variant of Florian. But also in Verdance, it's just like, sure, if you play it the turn you use your Waning Moon, great. Next turn you get Amp 3 if you find a way to Waning Moon again, or if you throw like a Findles, you gain a life, get the Amp off that. So sure, it's usable. Not the best thing in the set, but it's definitely one to experiment with. Earth's Embrace is a 1-cost Earth action aura. It is 2-block. It's blue. It is Go Again. At the beginning of your end phase, you make an Embodiment of Earth token. Then, if you haven't banished an Earth card this turn, destroy this. So, if you can consistently keep decomposing, you'll have a Embodiment of Earth every turn. But the turn you stop, that you will lose this. But still, you can easily get 2 to 3 turns of value off of this. The Embodiments of Earth will help you be more defensive, letting you keep more cards in your hand to keep decomposing. And you're obviously blocking with cards, so more things to get rid of if they're Earth non-attacks that you're pumping up. So I do think this card is playable. Don't know how much it'll see play. Seems a little better in Verdance to me, because it'll let you use your Waning Moon and such, but it could be good in Florian because you do get a double Earth token with its effect. So another playable Earth card. We'll have to actually test this one out, but it seems on the weaker side to me off first impression, but this could blow me out of the water and be an incredibly strong new Earth card. Seeds of Tomorrow is the last new Earth M. It is a 0-cost instant at blue. It has you, as an additional cost, put a card from your arsenal on the bottom of your deck, and it would prevent the next 5 damage that will be dealt to you this turn. Great card against Command and Conquers. Don't arsenal it. Please don't arsenal it. Unless you have another Seeds of Tomorrow in hand, and then which, sure, you can arsenal it because you can Seeds of Tomorrow the card away. It is additional cost, so if this does end up getting countered by something like a Null Shock or an Aetherize, you still have to put the card out of your arsenal, which, again, could be good, could be bad, depending on what you want. Seeds is, I think, actually a really good card. So, good, you get to keep an arsenal. If you have like a Plow Under in hand where your arsenal is going to go away anyway, and that's your play for next turn, this clears it out, lets you block a bit. Just a really nice tool that I think Earth decks will tend to opt for. Moving on to the rares, I'm going to go by these really fast because this video is probably going to be an hour at least. Earthform is a promo that we got from the from what event was it? The Skirmish, I think. Very good card. I think both the Earth Heroes are going to play this one. Even though it doesn't decompose, it's an Earth attack that makes an embodiment of Earth on hit. And it's a 3/7, so really good. Summer's Fall is our first non-M decompose attack. If you'll notice, they all got 2 block. Every Earth card, sadly, has 2 block because they're Earth cards. That isn't vanilla like Autumn's Touch or a D-React like Rootbound Carapace, but oh well. Summer's Fall is a 2/6, 2 block at red. Goes down by 1 every time. I'll only be reading the red ones here. When this attacks, you can decompose. If you do decompose, you put 1 target aura on the bottom of its owner's deck. Good versus Rune Chants or Embodiments of Earth. Mainly this will be used to take out Embodiments of Earth in mirrors. I don't think it will see play inside of Constructed, but this card is actually extremely powerful and limited because all of the here, not Skillio, but both of the Earth heroes, so in Earth mirrors, do tend to make embodiments, and then the rune blades will be making rune chants, so you can just get rid of the rune chant if you need to, or just an aura. Like if they do get down an Earth's Embrace, you can tuck that. Can't tuck like channel, but still. Actually, you can put channel on the bottom. It's any aura. So if they channel, bye-bye. Rootbound Carapace. This is an actual really good rare. It's a 0-cost 3-block D-React, and it has Decompose. If you decompose, it gets +1. It's best. It could just say Decompose on it. It doesn't even need to be a 4-block. This is a defensive way to actually gain your effect on your hero, as well as it's just a 4-block. So really, really good. I think you'll definitely play this at 3 in both heroes because, yeah, very powerful. Getting to do your stacking thing on an opponent's turn is great. It's also free, so you don't have to pay for it at all because all the other decompose effects you have to actually pay for. Sigil of Sanctuary has a new mechanic called Arcane Shelter. It's spell void, but you have to do it. That's it. It has an effect that when it leaves play, though, you get an embodiment of Earth. So, interesting, good in limited, not the best. There is a sigil that breaks at the start of your turn that does the same thing we'll talk about later. It's definitely a lot better. This is good for limited situations. Autumn's Touch reprint. Yay! Was Florian on the flavor text before? I don't remember, but now he is. Awesome. Blossoming Decay. This is a 2/5 decompose attack to gain a life, which means off Verdance, this will be like a 2/7. I think you only play this one in Verdance. I guess it is possible to play in Florian, because of the decompose effects, but we'll have to see. I think it's good still in Florian. We'll have to actually see if you want to play every decompose effect in those decks, or if you want to play just select ones, right? Mainly because they're all 2 blocks. That's why. Cadaverous Tilling is a 3 for 6 that if you decompose, you get +2. So a 3 for 8, pretty good. Fruits of the Forest is a 3 for 7 with the effect to instant speed, discard it, and gain 2 life. So just like all the wind-ups and such. Pretty nice. Strength of the Four Seasons is a 2 for 4 that gets +4 if you have 4 or more Earth cards in your banish. Again, good and limited. Don't know how good it'll be in Constructed. Harvest Season is a 1 cost Earth Aura. It is 2 block. It is go again, and it's at the beginning of your action phase. You destroy it and gain 3 life. Strong Yield is very similar to Harvest Season. Same stats and all, but instead of gaining the 3 life, you'll give your next attack +3 this turn. Fertile Ground is a 2 cost Earth instant that gains you 2 life, but if you have 4 more Earth cards in your banish zone, you'll gain 5 instead. The color shift will decrease the max amount, not the base amount. So at yellow, you'll gain 4, blue, you'll gain 3, notably because you'll still gain the 2 life if you just play it early, no matter the color. So the blue could see a lot of play, actually. And then the last Earth card in the set, technically not, but the last Earth card in the main set is Sigil of Earth. This is go again, Earth Aura 2 block. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy this. When this leaves the arena, make an embodiment of Earth token. Pretty good. Lets you set up Earth stuff. Is a blue non-attack action, so it gets pumped by your other embodiments. A pretty decent card. Now let's move on to those lightning cards. Lightning Greaves is a 1 block battle worn lightning equipment on the legs. It has AB1 and an instant speed to destroy this and give your instance you play this turn go again. This will not see play in Acilio because of Stormstriders. This is a pure Aurora card. The question is this better than A, Spellbound Creepers, and B, Snapdragon Scalers? I don't know. I think you could think of this as like what ninjas do and not play their shoe and instead play a Tide Flippers in arcane matchups because they are, yes, slightly worse to actually use, but still can give you some go again utility and let you keep AB. I think that's a possible choice. I think these are fine, but I don't think they're incredibly powerful. Actually, I think this, even though I think they're good, might be the worst L in the set. Because I think both of the classed ones, at least the Runeblade one, is incredibly powerful. I think the Wizard one is really cool. The Runeblade one is... I already said the Runeblade one. The Earth one is very, very good. And the generic one, I think, will eventually be like insane. If not, it's already pretty decent. So I think these could be the worst in the set, but I think they're still good. AB1 Battle Worn 1 shoe, not bad at all. Flash of Brilliance is their common head. It's 1 block Blade Break. When it defends, you can discard a lightning card to return an aura to your hand. It's okay. Better in Acilio and limited, but you're not playing this in Acilio and Constructed. And it's also just 1 block, so you'll take it in limited if you get one and it's 1 block. Twinkle Toes is 2 damage prevention, similar to the Earth Common Shoe. However, they can only be activated if you've played an instant card this turn. So, whatever. It's 2 block if you did an instant. Moving on to the M's. Current Funnel is a blue 2 power 3 block. If the last action card you played this turn was Lightning, this and the next action card you play this turn gains go again. Sort of similar to a Chain Lightning type of effect, where you give your next thing playable at instant speed, but if the thing you played before it was also a wizard card, you do 3 arcane. This is an attack. This one's a blue and 3 block, so it could be a lot better. We'll have to see. It being a bridge is pretty nice. Letting you throw something, then throw this, then throw another thing is pretty good. So we'll have to see this one's effectiveness. I'm not too optimistic about it, but I think it is definitely just a playable card. Eclectic Magnetism is a 1-cost red 5-power lightning attack with 3 block. When it attacks, you may play your next non-attack action in this chain link as though it were an instant. This one's pretty good. A lot of the non-attack actions have go again, so you'll get your action point back. So, pretty good there. Good and limited. I don't know if this will see much play in Constructed. I don't think it's the best Acilio card, although you do have to think about the fact that this does let your burn spells be played at instant speed. So, probably actually better in Acilio than in Aurora, because I don't think Aurora really wants 1-cost cards, but pretty good in Acilio, I guess. We'll have to see. Makes your burn spells instant speed, but it is a 1 for 5. So, I don't know if the camera picked that up, but that sounds like lightning. So I'm gonna, I guess, very fitting. So we're gonna speed this along. Gone in a Flash is a 0-cost 4-power lightning action. It is 3 block. I think all the M's, if they block, have 3. This has, when this attacks, the next time you play an instant card, this chain link, you may return this to its owner's hand. This card's great. This is like an Endless Arrow. If you can find a way to repeatedly pick this up and play it again, over and over, and something like Aurora, like if you have that Flicker Wisp, whatever Aurora's spec is called, turn, and you keep finding a way to give this go again and pick it up, incredibly powerful. It's just a repeatable 0 for 4 every single time. It's a very good card. I think you'll definitely see this one inside of Aurora. Channel Lightning Valley. This is the most sleeper card in the set. I don't see anyone talking about this card. I think this card is broken. This is a yellow 0-cost instant. The first time you do damage to an opposing hero each turn, draw a card. It is Channel Lightning. So, you play this, you shock them, you draw a card, you find some way to pitch a lightning card. Great, you keep this in play for next turn. Even if you don't keep it in play for a third turn, this card is a pot of greed. They wanted to ban speed, and they printed speed. Yeah, you could say, oh, not take damage. Good luck stopping all this arcane and all this physical damage. You're going to take at least one every turn. So, this card just pot of greed. If you keep it in play for 3 turns, I don't even know Yu-Gi-Oh! Comparison. Is there a 1-card draw 3 in Yu-Gi-Oh? I have no idea. This card's snapped. This card's like the best card in the set. Possibly. I think this card is crazy. They said, oh, we're going to ban speed. Print speed. I just think this card's incredibly strong. High Voltage. Last M here. 0-cost, lightning instant, blue, amp 1. Strong. Cease play in Acilio. Same reason why you'd like play Kindle. I don't know if you play Kindle in Acilio, because there's not really many things you can draw. A lot of his burn spells cost resource, and I don't think you're a deck that stacks resources very well. So, I don't think you play Kindle, but I think you do play this. It is a blue. It does amp you 1, so it's still very... I'd rather have the blue than the possible draw, I think, in a lot of situations. So High Voltage is pretty nice. It's also an instant. It can trigger things like Blast to Oblivion, a card we already talked about. This card's very, very good. In Acilio specifically, it'll be a tech card for limited, but if you... I'll read it again here. When this attacks, the next time you play an instant card this chain link, you can return an aura permanent with cost 1 or less to its... or a token aura to its owner's hand. You're going to play this in Acilio, bounce your own sigils back to hand to trigger your sigils. Really strong. I believe if you play a sigil as your instant, you can't bounce that same sigil But if you have one in play already, you can pick up that other one, and you're fine. So I really like this card for Acilio. I don't know how good it'll be in Aurora. Might be a tech card, but because of that other M that she has her meld card, I don't know if you'll play this in her. Lightning Form, 1 for 5, on hit make an embodiment. We have this card already. I don't think this card is as strong as Earth Form, but it probably could be playable. If Eclectic Magnetism is playable, I think Lightning Form is playable in Acilio. Electromagnetic Somersault. This card is crazy, I guess. It's Route, right? So it's a 0 cost instant. You choose up to 2 attacks with cost 0 or more on the active chain link. So these the cost goes up when the color goes up. You return them to their owner's hand when the chain link resolves. But isn't the chain link resolving after you do your attack resolution? So you've done your damage? Because people were comparing this to Route, but the way I read it, it doesn't sound like Route. It sounds like this is here so you can pick up your own attack to play it again. But then why would it target up to 2 things? Why would I want to bounce something my opponent did in that situation? That's why I'm a little confused on this card. I think depending on how this works, if this is a Route, it's a good card. If this is a... No matter what though, I think this is a good card. No matter how confused I am on it, I think it's a good card. Because it's either a 2 attack Route, which seems broken, especially at rare, or you play this to pick up one of your own attacks to play it again, which is also incredibly strong because there are a lot of good cards like Flittering Charge, like Second Strike, like you could probably just Arsenal the Lightning Surge again. Fucking this magnetism thingy is fine. So I think this card's very strong. Gonna see more play in Aurora, I think. Because I don't think Acilio is gonna waste a spot on this. You could always discard it. So be fair. But, I think this card's still pretty good no matter how confused I am on it. No matter what way I think it works, it'll be good. It's either Route or a replay on an attack you've already played. Or both, I guess. Which would be weird. Sigil of Conductivity is your Arcane Shelter Lightning Aura. It's fine. Technically better than the Earth ones because it's an instant for Acilio, and technically it works better in Acilio because it's an aura that you can keep and play in some matchups that don't do Arcane for your Volazar, but just play Sigil of Lightning. Maybe in sideboards this is fine, but just play Sigil of Lightning. Moving on to the commons. Flittering Charge is a 0 for 4. If you played an instant this chain link, gain Go Again. Yay, it's a 0 for 4 Go Again. Fry is a 0 for 3 Go Again. Notably, it has 0 block. It can block because its block is 0, but it has 0. Interesting. I believe Ball Lightning was very similar. Haven's Claw, 1 for 5 reprint. It doesn't matter, it's a reprint. Lightning Surge, reprint, but this card's actually really good. Second Strike is a 0 for 3. If you've dealt damage this turn, when it attacks, it gets +1 and Go Again. So another 0 for 4. Really good. It's very easy to do 1 damage. So this will be a 0 for 4 most of the time. Trip the Light Fantastic is a 1 for 5 that has the instant speed to discard it and prevent the next 2 damage that will be dealt to you this turn. This is a limited card, let's be honest. Flash is a reprint. Yay, pretty good. Gives something Go Again. Has Go Again itself. An Electrostatic Discharge is like a pre-lunging press, so you have to play it for your next attack instead of for the current attack like lunging press, but that means you just get to play both, which is really good. And I really like this card. And then finally, Sigil of Lightning. Beginning of your action phase, destroy it. When it leaves, make an embodiment of lightning. Done. That is all of the lightning, earth, heroes, weapons, meld cards, not all legendaries, all of the special white text box cards. I guess technically all of them have a white text box, but all of the white bordered, like in between the art and the actual border of the card type cards. All the elemental cards and elemented cards. Jeez, this was probably the longest video I've ever uploaded. I think in all the ones before, I never went over all 4 heroes in one video. So, incredibly long. If you did get this far in the video, thank you for watching. I guess this could have been like a great background while doing something else video. Don't know how long this is. I tried to speed through this last segment, but the heroes was 40 minutes. So this one will probably be pretty long. But yeah, these videos are generally longer. Next video, we'll look at Runeblade, we'll look at Wizard. If we have time, we'll look at Generic and we'll look at Expansion Slot. But if the Runeblade and Wizard cards are short, we'll do them in one video, and we'll get this done in 2 videos. So then we can start going into deck lists and all that other stuff. But I want to thank you all for watching the video. Hope maybe that you took something from my opinions or enjoyed, I guess. I mean, it's just me reading cards. But thank you for watching. I really am thankful if you watched this far. And for watching any of my videos, because I do like making them. With all that, that's going to be the end of the video. So I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.